No, that's not a typo in the title. Rather, it's a little homage to Earthbound, the quirky video game that captured our hearts. One of Nintendo's most underrated games, Earthbound and its trilogy have achieved what Sextro states is a cult following of devoted fans. And devoted they are. The massive fan base of Earthbound has caused the first game in the series, Mother, to finally be brought to the US under the title Earthbound Beginnings in 2014. Earthbound is also known as Mother 2 in Japan. Today, I hope to explain the importance of the game as a cultural artifact. I will address the importance of examining video games as cultural artifacts, how the game represents an idealized American culture, how the games show emerging feelings about gender and sexuality in society. It is important to observe video games as cultural artifacts. They are both entertainment and forms of art in their own right. Video games can change how we see and interpret the world. They can also be used to understand the time and culture of when and where they were produced. Video games offer us a unique perspective because of the duality of gameplay and narrative. Boone writes, "Many contemporary video games can and do tell stories." And I believe this is something we've all experienced. However, video games do more than simply tell us a story. They allow us to participate through gameplay. Earthbound's story and mechanics allow us to understand an encapsulated view of America through Japan following the Meiji Restoration and the transition into the 2000s. The Meiji Restoration had a massive effect on the culture of Japan. Isolated and feudalistic, Japan developed rapidly into a colonial power with the modernization and opening of Japan's borders to other cultures. Hoffman, 2003. It was this transition that allowed Japan to become the mecca of culture it is today. A particular influence in modern Japanese culture is the United States. Bound by their common views on nationalism, Japanese culture emulates the US in many ways. We can see this idea in Earthbound and the direct influence of American media through the eyes of the Japanese people. The game takes place in a world of everyday mediocrity, where the heroes eat hamburgers to recover health. In an interview with The Wired, Lindblom, a translator for Earthbound, stated, "The thing that's really weird about Earthbound is that I was trying to translate someone's view of what the US is like from the outside, someone who, obviously, isn't American. I had to take an outsider's view of the US and turn it into something everybody here would play and understand. That was one of the more difficult things to do." The game serves as an idealized parody of American culture. It allows us to see how countries outside the US viewed the culture of the US. That isn't the only thing that we can see when we examine Earthbound as a cultural artifact, however. The idea of sexuality and gender equality can also be seen throughout characters like Jeff. Jeff is the son of a scientist who joins the main cast and happens to be gay. The game never explicitly states this, rather, it implies it through the interactions between Jeff and his roommate Tony. The game designer, Shigesato Itoi, confirmed this speculation through interview. Leong, 2014. Earthbound shows us the beginnings of the movement for equality and the subtle push of the LGBT community for more diverse representation in games. It also lets us observe the desire for a more inclusive world, even during the late 90s. Earthbound manages to serve as an important cultural artifact despite its rough US release. It has managed to attract a sizable fan base and still impacts video games today. Earthbound represents the vision of American culture from the perspective of Japan, and the rippling effects of the changing of the world as the early 2000s approached. The game is both a shining example of video games as cultural artifacts, but it also serves as a progressive and well-written piece of entertainment that has been and will continue to be enjoyed by many.